We're building a salad bar. And it's been running about, I don't know, about 95, 96 degrees every day. Not real good weather for growing lettuce, so we would try some aquaponics. This is a small setup we threw together just to see if we could grow some in this heat. Water temperature stays really cool. And this was our first set of lettuce that we planted, and we've got green onions there on the other side. We got some smaller plants we've set out recently, and we've got others started to set out on this next level. And we're growing some fairly healthy looking lettuce. Got a lot of leaf lettuce going and some green onions. Really super simple. And we're doing it in some pretty extreme heat. And we are raising, since this is just an experiment, we've got some goldfish. I don't know if you can see them down here. Let's see if I can get them to come to the top. There they are. They think I'm feeding them. There they are. So before we put the money into tilapia, we wanted to see if it was going to work. So we've got our fish going on. This has been growing for, I guess, about a month. We started this one a few weeks back, this set here, and then we added another tray. Simple wood stand and a pond liner down in the bottom. We've added a small swirl filter to the side there to collect all the debris, since we got all rafts. And we put together these two here out of some totes, and the water feeds in and out. So we've got some baby plants started to go in here, all lettuce. So anytime we want a salad, we can come out here and pick our salad, our lettuce. This here's ready to eat. And there we got a little basil plant. It accidentally came up with some of our lettuce. Doing really good. And this is our first real aquaponic system. Trial and error. Seems to be working just fine. And we just picked up, like I said, the goldfish just to try it out. They seem to be doing real well, and the plants seem to be doing well. And just going to show you, you can raise salad, lettuce on a small scale for your family, should you have no grocery store to go to. So there we got it. And the pumps are fairly low wattage. We can add a solar panel later on. This one's hooked to the power right now, but we're definitely going to switch it over to a smaller solar panel. And in a survival situation, even in the heat, you can raise salad greens. We got it in a semi-shady spot. It gets sun periodically throughout the day, but it also gets some shade to keep the water cool and the fish cool. And it seems to be working out just fine. So there we have it. Survival situation. You can raise your own salads, your own food, your green onions, and we'll be adding other salad vegetables to this as we go along. We started out small so that we could see if it was going to work, and it seems to be doing just great. So there we have it. You can raise leaf lettuce to feed your family in a very, very small area. Not much of a footprint here. I'd say 4 by 8. So if you have a patio, have a small area in your backyard, this will do just fine. And we'll eventually switch over to tilapia. Like I said, this was just an experiment to see, oops, there comes the sun, if it would work. Works fine.
5 cents at Home Depot. As you see, it goes right over to here. It's already pre-cut. What I'm going to do here is, this is how it's going to drain out of the pool. I'm going to put it right in here. Look at this. This works so beautifully. Now we're going to leave that right here. Now, to understand aquaponics, we're going to have water from here going down to here where the fish are. The fish are going to urinate and poop, and they're going to put stuff in the water that's going to be needed filtered out. Nitrates, nitrate, all those good things about it. Ammonia. It's going to go up to a filter. The filter is going to be a biological filter. It's going to take the ammonia out. So we have the nitrogen system going here, cleaning it out so the plants can use it, and then it repeats itself. Now, that leads us to our next part. Okay, let me put this here real quick. What you need is a bucket. This was $4.98 at Walmart. Again, I bought everything brand new. I pre-drilled the holes. So, let's do this first. Remember I said that we were going to have 3 bulkhead fittings. Well, here, let me show you how this bulkhead fitting system works here. Unlike the other one, when we had it sticking out, we're going to have it sticking in. So let me just put this in so you'll see. Right here. Now you follow these plans, you'll make modifications. It will work. And I'll be honest with you, this seems a little stiff putting in, but that's good because that's telling me I'm going to have a better seal. See, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, there. Putting it in. Now, I have the other bulkhead fitting. Put it right here. Okay, we're going to pause here for a moment. Okay, what I have here at 68 cents, you can make these yourself out of tire tubes, but I went and bought them. 68, again, Aquatic Ecosystems, 1/2 inch. Take a look, see, it goes right in here. What I'm trying to do here is I have a grommet on the other side, so it's nice and waterproof. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm making sure that it's there. That's one. Now we're going to do it again with this right here. Same system, same way. Remember I told you you needed 3, and there's the 3rd. And you're probably going to drop things too, so don't worry about it. Nice PVC. Now it's a little bit stiff to get in. There it is. But again, I wanted it stiff because if it wasn't, that means there's a chance for a leak. And I don't use glue. A lot of people, I'm just nervous with glue, chemicals. So I try to stay away from it. If you're going to use a glue or something or silicone, go to an aquarium one. But again, find one that's food service safe because you're dealing with food you're going to eat. But I don't use it, and that's the reason I use 2 grommets or rubber there to have it. There we are. See, I already have it in. I put the next one in right here. And then we're almost done with. So now let me talk about something as I screw it in. In order to have a biological filter, the bacteria has to hold on to something. I use screen. I found it works. Now that's the most expensive part besides the pump. Here it is. This is the screen. What I do with the screen is I put it in. The screen costs for, I believe, 60 inches by 10 feet, costs $13 from Home Depot. Okay, there you are. This is the media that when it comes in on the bottom, it's going to grow in here, grab on here, and take the ammonia out. Now the next thing you need, I went to Walmart. This was the regular price. A little Airstone. This cost me only $5. So because of the container I used, it came with a hole. As you can see, it's a 10-gallon container. I didn't get anything on special price because I don't know where you are. See, there it is. Now the bacteria, in order to grow, needs oxygen. That's what this is for. It needs oxygen, so we're going to place this here. This is actually ready to go. But you should be dark because sunlight will kill it. There it is. It's very simple, ready to roll. Now, we take the pipe, okay. I cut 2 of these. Again, these were under, I believe, 25 cents. And of course, this was part of the 2 10-foot lengths. What I did here is I stick it right here. Okay. The other one, I stick right in here. Remember I said 1/2 inch? Look at that. Fits right there. Just do it till it's snug. Now it's done. When you put the air tube in, make sure it's all the way to the bottom. Okay, what I'm doing here is, if you notice, this goes in. If you could zoom in, Eric, I want the water to go in here. I want it straight. Now, remember this device that I put on here? It's going to go just like this. I put it right on here. Okay, let me show you a little closer. Alrighty, let me give you a little closer view. As you can see, I have it into the pump. It goes straight here into this. Now you can see why I like flexible tubing, because then I could really do a lot more, but this is inexpensive. See how it goes right into here. This one, the water's going to go right in here at angle and help turn it around. This is where it's going to go. This is what it actually looks like without any water. Let me step back and have you all look at it. This is the system. As you can see. All right. Okay. Okay, Eric, could you come and film, please? What I'm doing right now is I'm filling up the water container. The plug has been plugged in. I'm filling it in here. And I'm going to show you what this looks like as it actually works. Now, you're going to need to get some fish in here. You can go to the pet store and get it 10 fish for $1, goldfish. You don't need anything else to start this off with. You need to get your water tested. In order to save money, every pet shop will test your water for free. You can go to any pool shop, they will test your water for free. What are you testing it for? You're testing it 1 for pH, 2 for ammonia, 3 for nitrates. Those are 3 things you're going to worry about right now. As you get more advanced, we have classes that get more technical. But you're going to have to get this cycled. So you're going to run it like this, at least, if you don't have any fish, and you can live in a city, you're going to have chlorine in your water, so you're going to run it for 4 or 5 days. Some people say a week. But after about 3 days, about a day, you can put some goldfish in it. And right now, I'm just putting the water in. Okay, we're going to cut the film for a second while it fills up. As you notice, water is in it. What's happening here, I want you to see. The water is getting bubbled. It's getting plenty of air right there. Also, this is how it's going in. Remember I explained about it? So you can actually see it working. Notice it's a little dirty because I used it before. And now there's the water coming in. Let me tell you how it looks. See, this is what it looks like inside. There's the bubble. There's the netting. Okay. Notice that's keeping the water flow the same way. But if you run into a problem and your water flow is going too fast, too high, you can always put another hole here, let's say over here, and have it drain in there to compensate it. You want it so you can actually, let me see, I'm going to show you how I'm going to secure this completely. This is what it looks like secured. You want it so that it goes just like that. Look at it. There it is. You want it so you can always open it and clean it if you need to clean when you clean it, so you don't have to have it's all pressurized. Again, simplicity is. Okay, my son's 10 years old. Eric, will you walk there? I just want you to get a visualization how tall it is. It's not very tall. As you can see, he's waving to you. There it is. Now let's go look at one. All right, we're going to go look at one right now that is actually working. Okay, here we are. Same system really being used. And here is a view. Let me see if I can catch some fish there. As you can see, we got tilapia. Look at that. Catfish. Some goldfish. Goldfish are great because they help prevent mosquitoes. Then here's that second one I was telling you. Look at the plants. Styrofoam. You can buy that at Walmart. You buy containers to hold up. I used a big container of ice any way you want to. There you are. But we're working on the system. There it is again. As you can see, it goes down here. And right there, putting air into it. See, it's nice and flow. And what I did here is I did something a little different, because the straight pipes, the water was going all the way in here. I didn't want that, so I just put, again, I spent 35 cents for these. And look at that, it just goes straight there. This is where it was. I just made it just in case, the second one, in case it was too powerful, because there's a pump. Again, a $15 pump, as you can see, it's just doing it. So the filter's on the outside instead of inside. And as you notice, personally, I'm using the food grade tubing right here because I want people to see what's going on as we teach them. And as you see, it goes straight there, right there, all the way down into the system. Let me back up. And it's on a pallet just like there. Those are something I found. You can find anything you want to hold it up. It can be a table, it can be anything. And there we are. Is an aquaponics system that you can build. And I'm going to say, realistically, let's say $70, $75. Thank you very much. This is Chaplain Ian Perry wishing you very much luck as my son is saying goodbye. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at ki4ngz, that's a numeral number 4, ki4ngz @yahoo.com. And may God bless you and your family. And this is what it looks like when it's all together. You can see it's not really that much. That's what it looks like. I put all the parts in there. So it really doesn't take that much room for aquaponics system.
Good morning. Today I'm going to explain a little bit about my history of what I've done with gardening, and as well as explain some of the parts of my system and how they work. I know that I've shown lots of videos of what's going on, but I haven't really given an in-depth understanding of what's happening. So first things I wanted to explain about is how I've gone from hydroponics, which is the use of inorganic fertilizers, or also known as nutrients in the field, and using exact science, because you're basically measuring out exactly what you need for your plants to grow, and based on their specific growth patterns, whether they're in the vegetative state, the flowering state, or the fruiting state, You give them specific types of nutrients that they need, and they grow perfectly. I mean, when I had my hydroponic system, it was a 72-site system. It grew beautifully, and there was never a deficiency in any of the plants. There was never any problems with any of them. They grew. Basically, you're giving the plants the most that they could grow, given their genetic potential. But the only problem with it, there's several problems with it. The inorganic fertilizers, a lot of people would say, are issues, especially since you have to mine them. It's not sustainable. It's not organic necessarily, although some would argue that last point. And another issue is the every 2 weeks, 2 weeks, you have to dump the entire nutrient solution because everything gets out of whack. You basically you dump it, and where you dump it, who knows? No one really asks those questions. And I mean, I guess you could dump them on the yard, but then you start over. So it seems like it's a waste of water, waste of nutrients. It's not good for the environment. So then I moved on to aquaponics. Aquaponics, and actually I do still have one of the beds here set up for aquaponics, is when you introduce fish instead of nutrients. The fish will naturally, the fish are actually in this tank. You probably won't be able to see them. No, you won't. But there's about 10 tilapia in this 55-gallon drum. And what they do is they produce their waste through their gills, through their urine, their poo, and that waste is pumped up to a media bed. A media bed is simply a bed of rocks or gravel or clay pebbles or whatever you want to use. And then the natural bacteria that are found in the gravel, in the media, will nitrify it, meaning that they convert it first to nitrites, and then a second set of bacteria convert it to nitrates. Once it's converted to nitrates, the plants can eat it up, use it, and then it goes back down to the fish tank in the form of clean water, which is great for them. So it's a nice symbiotic relationship that the plants have with the fish, and everybody's happy. There is a downside to this, unfortunately, and the downside is that even though that you could treat it like an exact science, it's very difficult to do so. What I mean by that is this: you could be calculating the pH, the ammonia, the nitrites, the nitrates, and seeing how much you have and how much you need, and feed your fish based on if you're low on nitrates, you could feed your fish more or put more fish in. But really, when it comes down to it, it's tough because it's a lot to calculate when you're dealing with two different systems. You have to make the fish happy, and you have to make the plants happy as well. So you've really got to work extra hard to make sure both the plants and the fish are happy, because you don't want death of either. Although obviously, in case of problems, you'd rather have plant death, I'm sure, than fish death, since they're the source of your nutrients. But either way, no one's going to say that aquaponics are easy. And for a lot of people, dealing with fish either is a hassle, or they just don't want it. They don't care for fish. They don't want to eat fish. Some people grow actually goldfish or things like, basically inedibles. So having fish is not ideal. And that's where bioponics comes in. I don't know who coined this phrase. There's other names for it. But basically, bioponics is when you take organically produced, locally produced ammonia, and you introduce it to your systems. So you're probably wondering, well, where do you get that? Well, here's my source. So it's basically what I mean by locally organically manufactured ammonia. I mean urine. Now it sounds pretty gross, but until you realize that it's not any grosser than if you say we're using cow manure for organic gardening. I mean, after all, cow manure comes from a cow. It's actually kind of gross as well, especially since it's it really is nasty. But urine, though, it's not just straight peeing on the systems. That is disgusting. What is actually done is you take your urine, you bottle it and you bottle it for several weeks. That sounds like, well, what's the difference? But the reality is that when you bottle it for several weeks, there's a chemical change within the urine. What happens is it converts from most of urine has urea. Urea is not really usable for the plants, and so what happens is the urea actually undergoes a change and converts to ammonia, to an organic ammonia. Well, you're wondering, well, why does that matter? Well, two things. Number one, as you probably know and you've probably heard, when urine comes out, it is sterile. That is true. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't stay sterile for very long. As soon as it's introduced to the air, wild yeast and wild bacteria go ahead and inhabit it, and we don't know what kinds. They could be dangerous kinds. They could be they're called pathogens, or they could be friendly bacteria, also known as probiotics. But more than likely pathogens, or at least we always have to assume that. So if you assume that, then the nice thing is, after several weeks of aging, the urine actually converts the urea to ammonia, and the pH goes to about 9. Now, what seems to happen at that point, based on some people's observations, and they've done testing, is that the ammonia now cannot, because of the pH and because the strength of the ammonia, the pathogens can't live in it anymore. And so if you tested it for pathogens such as E. coli and other types of pathogenic bacteria, you'd find that there's none in there, which is great. That means it's now again sterile. So now that it's sterile again, we can use it. So what we do is we introduce a small amount, because it's actually pretty potent. Introduce a small amount into the systems. Not this one. This one actually, like I said, this one is my last aquaponics system. The other 5 beds are bioponic. The nice thing about bioponics is it goes back to the same idea of hydroponics, is that I could treat it like a science again. I could measure exactly how much I need for the types of plants I have, and seeing how they react to it. So I've actually did that in a couple weeks ago to find out exactly how much aged urine I need. And so based on that, I found out that each bed, at least during the vegetative stages, needs about 5 ounces of urine. So the nice thing is, now we could take that small amount of urine, and I could easily manufacture enough for all the beds that we have here, which means I could grow my own lettuces, kale, red onions, cabbage, and various other types of plants, purely with no other input but what I have at my house, which sounds great. It's sustainable, it's organic, it's locally produced. I don't have to mine them. That's an issue with hydroponics. So you have everything you need right in your own backyard, or at least in your own house. Another gain about using your own urine is that you're not flushing down fresh water, gallons of fresh water every time you urinate. If you think about it, how many times the average person urinates per day, you can easily flush down the toilet easily about 10 gallons a day of fresh water. That's a huge waste. As some of you who are not familiar with plumbing, they don't plumb in bad water to go to your toilet. They plumb in the same fresh drinking water that you have in your sink. And therefore, it's a huge waste. Obviously, I'm not complaining about the plumbing systems. I mean, I'm happy to have them. And, it would cost a lot of money for them to change, to have a new pipe just for every toilet you have. But there is no need to have fresh water being wasted, at least not on your urine. Bottle it, use it. It's an incredible nutrient. There's no other nutrient like it. As you can see, based on my beds here, everything's growing lush, beautiful. There's no deficiencies. I'm pretty confident that I'm able to look at a plant and say, it needs iron, or it needs nitrogen, or it needs whatever it needs. There's plenty of information like that out on the web anyway of what to look for deficiencies. And the only thing I can a little bit see is just maybe a little bit of iron, at least over here. But that's okay, because in most systems you need to supplement iron anyway. It's called chelated iron or iron chelate. So that's okay. I'm going to do a little bit of a spray on them and they'll be fine. Other than that, they do tremendously well with no other inputs. I am actually once in a while using a little bit of fish emulsion and sea salt, something called sea salt. That's made from, it's made from seaweed. So I am using other inputs occasionally. They're all organic and they really just add a little bit more micronutrients, a little bit more phosphorus and potassium, since those are the only things that you could use once in a while, at least when it's flowering and fruiting. But otherwise, these looking great. These are some cuttings, for example, of hydrangeas that I took last year, and now they're doing superb, although some would say there's a little bit of iron deficiency, so I'll have to look into that. I just took this from the garden. This is lemon balm, so I want to grow that in here. So let's see what else. We got some little bit of a dill plant here. I took that from another place. And there's a nice little pepper plant growing in back, doing wonderfully. The creeping thyme is, as always, creepy. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's creeping along really nicely. More hydrangeas, and I think what I'm just seeing here in this bed is finally one of the beans are popping up. So I have multiple lettuces growing here. This, I'm pretty confident, is Lola Rosa. And beautiful red little ripply plants, lettuces. And I've got some bunch of other types of fancy lettuces, or whatever you want to call them, growing. And on another note, I did want to show you this. I do actually have comfrey growing here. I took this... A friend of mine gave me it, and I've been growing it in my greenhouse, just on the dirt. And the point of this is that I read online that comfrey is actually the perfect fertilizer. So what I intend to do once I get enough of it is cut it down and put it into a, there's another one growing right there. I'm going to cut it down and put it into a pot of water, or a bucket of water, and literally let it rot and let it turn into a sludge. Once it turns into a sludge, I should be able to put it into a bottle, and it's supposed to have a very good amount of nutrients for plants, both nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, as well as some micronutrients. So I'm going to give that a try, and it might actually replace using urine, aged urine, or it may not. We'll have to find that out. But the whole idea is that the most important thing are the plants, at least in my garden. In my garden, I want to grow enough food for my family, and not have to rely so much on supermarkets, because as most of you know, supermarkets are, well, they're getting to be pretty expensive for fresh produce, organic produce. Not to mention, you know, a lot of farmers are, or at least supermarkets are taking shortcuts with regards to what they call organic, or what they call a fresh, or what they call a locally produced. So we can never tell what exactly they have and how it was grown. Here, at least I know exactly what I used for the system. Now you're going to ask, does the produce taste like urine? No, of course not. It doesn't taste, it tastes like what it's supposed to taste like. It's fresh, it's clean, there's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it has a better taste than what you find in stores.